Good evening. Welcome to class. I'm going to be your insurance instructor. My name is Scott Schultz, and I work with test teachers, insurance and securities training. And you are here for your insurance licensing exam. We are going to be covering here in this first few videos what's referred to as general insurance. So in the PDF document that you printed out, this is going to be the first section that you'll be able to print out there. Make sure you have it printed out because you're going to want to take some notes as we go along here. Now, if you're going to be preparing for a number of different exams on the insurance side, possibly life and health, property and casualty, so this section, general insurance, is going to be the same regardless of the exam that you're going to be taking. This part of the material is actually on every insurance exam in every state that the exam is administered. So this is kind of where we get a good basis, introduction to insurance, what it is, how it works, some different definitions. We learn a lot about different types of insurance companies in this section and also different ways you can work as an insurance agent or producer. So we will get started right off ahead here, and also keep in mind as you go throughout this course, right at the top of the web page, there's a little link that says Contact Us. You can click that if you have any questions about anything within the material. That email will come directly through to me. I will get back to you as response as soon as I can. Keep in mind though, I'm an instructor, so I teach these classes on a daily basis and possibly could be in class. But I check those emails even when I'm on breaks at class, so I do my best to try and get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, you ready to go? Here we go. We'll start out with a couple definitions. So we have three definitions we'll start off with right off the bat. And on this exam, definitions are very important. All right, so we have our first three. And these first three here are basically different entities. All right, so we have number one is the insured. Number two is the insurer. And number three is the producer, also known as agent. Okay, so we have the three basic definitions here. You've got to know these for your exam. Definitions are very important. It's almost like learning a new language. So this is the language of insurance. You've got to know these things to pass your exam. Okay, so we start with number one here, insured. This is the person that's covered by the insurance. So think of it this way. If you have auto insurance, which most hopefully everybody does, because in most states it's a law, right, that you have to have liability insurance. Okay, well, you have auto insurance. We need to know who's covered, right, by the policy. Who's covered to drive the car? The person that's covered, or the people that are covered to drive the car, family members usually included, they're the insureds under the policy. So that's our first definition. So we'll put right up here the person covered. Second one, insurer. This is the insurance company. Now, keep in mind here, one letter difference between the two words. So that's why I circled the D in insured. An insurer, this is the insurance company. Okay, so I mentioned maybe you have auto insurance. Well, whatever company you have your auto insurance through, they're your insurer. Now be very careful on the exam because they like to ask questions about either entity, the insured or the insurer. And there's only one letter difference. So a lot of times you might just skip over and not see that last letter. Well, guess what? Depending upon the question, both answers usually are going to be there. They'll do whatever they can on these exams to try and trick you. So you've got to make sure that you slow down and read the question. Very important. Now we have our last definition here, producer, also known as agent. Now I want to point this out right here so we can get this straight off. There are a lot of synonyms on these insurance exams. Different words that mean the same thing. Now here we have right off the bat, producer or agent. It means the same thing. Who is this? Well, guess what? This is going to be you. When you get your license, depending on your state, they will either refer to you as a resident insurance producer or a resident insurance agent. In the real world, so you talk about somebody who sells insurance, you call them an insurance agent. However, a lot of states, the legal definition is now changing to producer. It means the same thing. This is you guys. So first test question, most questions ask this. As a licensed insurance agent or producer, who do you represent? Your client or the insurance company? Now the answer you're going to want to pick on the exam is the insurance company or insurer. Who do you get paid by? The insurance company. You get paid a commission. Who do you have a contract with? The insurance company. Okay? So very important you understand that. So we start off with those three intro definitions. Then we kind of start to get into some things that are really in that, starting off in that book on that first page, page number 1. Some more definitions. Okay, general insurance here. And by the way, if you've already done your life and health or you've already done your P&C, there's not going to be anything new in these videos on general insurance. So you can go ahead and skip to the next section of the book if you'd like to. However, if you want to for a review, watch this video again, feel free to do so. Okay, so we've got here insurance, which is very important. This is why everybody's here, right? To sell insurance. Well, you got to know what insurance is. Okay, here's the basic definition of insurance. Insurance is defined as protection against a financial loss. So that's the basic definition of insurance. Why do people buy insurance? Because they want protection. Now here's the key though. What really causes people to buy insurance? We know everybody needs insurance, right? Or at least as an agent, that's what everybody needs insurance. That's why we're getting into the business. Well, what causes people to buy the insurance then? Here's what really causes them to buy. Risk. Now, a lot of times they ask basic definition questions on the exam about the definition of risk. The definition of risk is the chance of loss. So we said insurance basically is defined as protection against a financial loss. Well, the reason people buy insurance is because risk is present. The chance of loss or uncertainty of loss. Now, beyond this definition of risk, there are 2 subcategories of risk that you need to know for your exam. And the first one we'll call pure risk. Now, pure risk is a type of risk that we have where there is a chance of loss only, no chance for gain. Now, we make a big point of this because pure risk is insurable. Pure risk is insurable. So this is very important for your exam. What types of risks are insurable? Pure risks. Let me give you an example of a pure risk. Example of pure risk would be getting sick. Okay, I get cancer. And obviously I wasn't planning that I was going to get cancer. This is an unforeseen thing. So I get cancer, I'm going to need to have treatments. And it's going to be expensive to get those treatments. Pure risk. Pure risks are a type of risk where there's no potential for gain. What do I have to gain from getting cancer? Nothing. Another example of pure risk. My house burns down. Okay, what's there to gain from that? Lightning strikes my house, burns down. Nothing. This is why I buy insurance, to cover the financial loss that will occur. Now, I said there's 2 subcategories of risk. So we have pure risk, then we have what's called speculative risk. And this is a special type of risk where there is a chance for gain and also a potential for loss, both in the same risk situation. So here, not insurable. This is not insurable. You can't buy insurance for speculative risks. Well, what's an example of a speculative risk? Gambling, buying lottery tickets. Hey, I know lots of states that have the multi-state Powerball or similar lottery programs. So I buy a lottery ticket. Actually, in fact, I bought one last night. So the Powerball right now is at $100 million. I could win. Spend $5. I could lose my $5. What type of risk is that? Speculative risk. Speculative risks are not insurable. If they were, think about it. You go to Las Vegas. Okay, you're at the blackjack table and you put down $1,000 on a hand of blackjack. Is there an insurance agent there saying, hey, you want to buy some insurance for that? It's kind of risky, right? No, they're not. Why? Because there's a potential for gain. They don't want to insure risks that have potentials for gain. They only want to insure pure risks, risks that only have a potential for loss, no chance for gain. Okay, so those are some basic definitions. Some other basic definitions which you're probably already aware of. Premium. Premium is what everybody has to pay for their protection that's provided. So whether it's for auto insurance, health insurance, any type of insurance, that's what you pay to the insurance company. Something that is also probably familiar with is an insurance policy, the word policy. That's actually the legal contract between the insurance company and the insured. So it's legally enforceable. So we'll talk about some legal issues related to contracts later in this section. because they're important. It's a legally enforceable contract, so we need to know what causes it to be legally enforceable. So we'll take a look in your book here. This is actually on page 1 of the general insurance section. We'll go through here. I'll tell you some things that you want to highlight and make sure when you go back and review to study, make sure you know them for your exam. Okay, on page 1, we have that first paragraph. Now in that first paragraph, the first sentence, highlight, put a star by that, that's the legal definition of insurance. So it says insurance is a social device for spreading the chance of financial loss among a large number of people. Okay, very important there. Next paragraph, put a star by the definition of insurer. And in the third paragraph down, highlight the first sentence. We said the policy is the legal agreement between the insurance company and the insured. And also in that paragraph, put a star by loss and claim. Loss, they define as a reduction in the value of an asset. In order to be paid for a loss, you have to submit a claim to the insurance company. These are all terms you're probably already familiar with anyway. The fourth paragraph down. Okay, here's where we start seeing some test questions. Risk, highlight, put a star by that. Probably a test question on that. Uncertainty of loss or chance a loss will occur. Reason people buy insurance. Next paragraph below that. Speculative risk. Test question. Is speculative risk insurable? No. Or maybe they'd word it like this. Which of the following types of risks are not insurable? The answer being a speculative risk. We have the next paragraph, pure risk. Type of risk that insurers are willing to accept. Chance of loss only, no chance for gain. Okay, so a lot of definitions there. We go a little bit further down on the page, bottom of page 1, elements of insurable risk. And we have the last paragraph on the page says, there are 4 ways to manage risk. Now, right above that paragraph, last paragraph on the page, I want you to write this. Write risk management. Now, this, what we're getting into here, is referred to as risk management. And let's say we define our risk, and we'll say that our risk is we're worried about being involved in a car accident. Okay, that's our pure risk. Being involved in a car accident, having it be our fault, we're legally responsible for those financial damages. So how can we manage this risk? It's present. We want to manage it. We've got 4 options of how we can do this. As stated in the last paragraph on the page, second sentence. Here's our 4 options. A risk may be, number 1, retained, avoided, number 2, reduced, number 3, or transferred, number 4. So let's take a look at these in the order presented there. Number 1, we can retain our risk. Okay, so how do we retain our risk? Say we want to fully retain our risk. Do we buy insurance? The answer is no. If we want to 100% retain our risk, we don't buy insurance. We self-insure. Take on the risk 100% ourselves. So we want to retain the risk. We can self-insure. Now, another